Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with all of you lovely human minds and dog minds. Don't want to leave anyone out. So the theme today is patterns, and I was actually quite excited about this theme, so much so that I wrote kind of a little talk specifically about that. It was a very short turnaround of, a week of getting the topic and then creating this thing, but hopefully it all comes together and we'll get to explore this topic as a group. So as it was mentioned, I am a spoken word poet, and since I love what I do, I say words pretty much anywhere anyone asks me to. So I've written a German bike commercial, I have performed in dingy basement bars, I have even written love poems for gorillas and tapirs at the Calgary Zoo. So it's something different every day, and I absolutely adore that. The overlap in all of these very unique experiences is that I'm given the opportunity each day to zoom in on something, an idea, a cause, a 700-pound animal, and I get to recognize parts of it that we might otherwise overlook. Today we're talking about patterns, and my work as a poet is very interested in these patterns. It's interested in physical patterns, describing a honeycomb, or the filaments of a spider's web, or the scintillating scales of a fish. It's interested in social patterns, in the grandiose habits we form as a society, or something as simple as who we sit next to at lunch. And it's also interested in mental patterns, which images and concepts catch our eye, and why. So I think one of the most powerful things I've learned from poetry, and something we can apply to all of our lives, is the power to form new patterns and to choose what we notice. What actions and observations do we zone in on every day? Do we throw our hands up at the traffic that we can't control, or do we turn up the radio and dance to the music? Do we notice the gum sticking under the table, or the warm cup of tea resting on top of it? To a large extent, poetry is a magnifying glass, and we are directing it at a corner of our existence. We all have that opportunity as humans to choose where we aim our magnifying glass. So my challenge for you all today is to take control of what you are choosing to notice, which patterns you are forming or recognizing. Let's try an example together. So I'm going to perform a poem about my father, and spoiler alert, it has some pretty big highs and lows. So I want you to mentally or physically jot down 3 words or lines that stand out to you. Choose 3 moments that are memorable or impactful for whatever reason. Okay, so 3 different words or lines. With that said, with that in mind, this one is called Stardust. Are you ready for me, Steve? I feel like a rock star being like, hit it!
Direct.
Yeah, let's do it. When I was born, you held me. And from that first hold, gripping me greater than gold, I had no choice but to sparkle. Because you marveled at my every inhale and exhale, breathed love into me in heaping spoonfuls, until my lungs learned the glistening taste of love itself. And you held stardust in your eyes every time you looked at me, and after a while, that sort of thing rubs off. You see, I started to shine. And it was no fault of mine, but you fed me so much warmth I couldn't keep it inside, so now I'm a speck on the horizon, slowly gaining speed like a comet rising, but you still keep me grounded. Founded in logic, surrounded by love, you taught me all the lessons I could dream of. Like, you made me try 3 bites of every dish I said I hated, until I learned I had to take life on my own tongue and taste it. And when I fell, you did so much more than just kiss my scraped knees. You taught me how to put my hand just right on the ground, so when I pushed myself back up, I'd be taller than I was before. You never sat on the front porch with a rifle waiting for my date to come by, but you armed me with enough intellect to choose someone who wouldn't need a gun. You complimented my terrible plays and bird sketches as much as my hair and my clothes, and told me, acne-covered brace-face looking in the mirror, that when their puberty caught up with my brilliance, they would know I was worth fighting for. You were my unrelenting fuel source, who fed me flecks of brilliance that altered my course. So when I looked up and saw you flicker, I got scared. Because who's ever prepared to be told that the one who gripped them greater than gold has 2 months to shine? So I pressed your tired ribs against mine and felt the scarred lungs crackle. But even with the snap, crackle, pop, and the beating of the clock, the loudest thing in the room was not time. It was the sound of your arms wrapping around mine, telling me everything would be fine because we had no regrets. And it wasn't just the Percocets talking. If death was knocking, you were ready to answer the door. Because every moment of our lives, we had something worth breathing for. We had always said our I love yous and meant it. We had rambled on like word nerds and bantered unrelented. You had made me bedtime stories and M-shaped pancakes. We had questioned things together and learned from our mistakes. You said you taught me all I needed to know. And now it was my turn to go and change the world. So now, I marvel at your every inhale and exhale. Breathe love into the world in heaping spoonfuls until this earth learns a glistening taste of love itself. Thank you. All right. Okay, so whether they're in your head or on paper, I want you to just revisit the 3 words that stood out to you, the 3 words or lines from this poem. Just looking at them for yourself, I want you to ask, why did you notice these things? And are those things you want to continue noticing? This might be something you continue to reflect on later, but it's not often as simple as that line was good or that was bad. Sometimes we notice things because it reminds us of our own relationships. Sometimes we notice because the writing made us picture it so clearly. Sometimes we notice because it made us feel something strongly. Whatever it was, the most important question is, do you want to continue noticing those things? Sometimes when I perform that poem, people will come up to me and say, I liked your sad poem. And I get it. There's a lot of emotion in that one. But the funny thing is, what I think of as the sad part makes up less than 15% of the poem. And that may be a good example of how our brains are wired and what we're trained to notice. That's not to say it's wrong if you notice any of the heavier parts. They can be interesting and useful, and we can learn a lot from them. But I do like for us to reflect on what we noticed and why, and most importantly, whether we want to keep those habits. As an audience, you were in the same position I was in when I was 17. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to lose my father. And so I could only control the way that I thought about it. So I choose to direct my magnifying glass at all the things that I'm grateful for. So ask yourself, where did you direct yours? And so this is what I do now. I use poetry to choose what I focus on and notice. Poetry becomes my mental pattern. It's the words and thoughts I repeat over and over again. So I try to create poems that plant the seeds of who I want to be, because by the time I repeat them a dozen times, they're going to take root. So writing helps me focus on the things I might otherwise overlook. And I'm not just talking about cloudless summer days documented in perfect cursive in a creaseless leatherback journal. I'm talking messy moments jotted onto a paper napkin with strike-throughs and scribbles in the margins and a pasta sauce smeared across the whole thing. See, there's power in inspecting each piece of life slowly and letting our messy thoughts about it spread out in front of us so we can decide what we want to see in it. Is this nacho cheese disaster truly a life-ending catastrophe, or is it a funny shirt stain that will show our friends later? Is this snail with a periwinkle spiral just a passing detail, or is it a metaphor for each beautiful being that goes unnoticed? You get to decide the mental patterns that you're forming in life, what each piece of life means to you. You get to reframe it, choose how you want to engage with it. There's no wrong way to interpret or respond to any moment, but it is yours to interpret. So whether your realizations have you sobbing into your bowl of cereal or memorizing the swirling back current of a river, this is your chance to dig into one moment. This is your chance to slow down enough to let the world teach you something. In short, it's not just about capturing the best moments or the worst moments of life, it's about capturing any moment. If you can give it meaning, it's important. Maybe that's the thermos on top of your car or the thud of a cat's paw on a full glass of orange juice. Or maybe, for someone like me, it's a lifelong love affair with pasta. If you love puns, you're about to have a great time. And if you don't love puns, I apologize in advance for this poem. This is the one I wrote for the love of my life. It's called Ode to Pasta.
Yeah, done. Okay.
With you, it was love at first bite. One taste that I tell ya, it felt just right. Might have seemed at first like we were just noodling around, but you're not just some way for me to pass the time. You can always tortellini on me and I can tortellini on you. You ravi roll me out of bed in the morning and Parmesan with me late at night. And you don't mind spicing things up a bit, because you oregano what makes me tick, so we full on assy go for it. Bring on that cheesy romance with a saucy twist, so you get along great. And you're always up for any date. You mac out with me when we're watching Netflix late. And when I'm feeling fancy, you suit up with bow ties. When I feel like my life is about to capsize, you gnocchi at my door. Verma chill me out. I gotta say, without a doubt, you spaghetti me better than anyone else. And man, it caught me off guard, but now it's hard to even be cannelloni without you, because I'm crazy about you from my head to my tummy toes. And when I've had a not so relatively long day, you let me know when I'm off base, or when I should be giving you more of my time. My friends warned me not to fall too hard, said you might tell me lies or even cheat on me. But you have never done me wrong. We always get along macaroni well, your rigatoni, a voice makes my heart swell. I can tell you complete me from A to Fusilli. My parents said you were just a phase, that I just hadn't tried the whole buffet. Well, let me tell you, I have sashimied my way around the world, spring rolled my way across different countries. I've even done some spooning and forking that I'm not proud of. But even after trying the whole enchilada, I can't find anything that compares to you. Nothing can linguine me off of your love. I think I'm really far falling. So let's stay up together and watch Lady and the Tramp. Let me pepper you with compliments, assault you with affection, because I'm not Alfredo of your love. You can rock me, mama, with your wagon wheels. You can be my Yoko Orzo. Because whenever I see you, I want amore. Can't wait to see what we have in store. And when you ask what this poem is for, it's for you, my favorite, pasta time. Thank you.
That's word.
All right, so whether we're talking about a punny pasta poem, or a life story, or anything in between, this is just a tiny spark that's meant to ignite more conversation, to ignite your own ideas. Which mental patterns are you choosing from this day forward? Which thoughts or memories or tangents did this spark in you? What are you going to choose to notice when you leave this room? Choose one habit you'd like to form or one you want to let go of. Choose one of your daily routines that you want to look at differently. This could be as simple as closing your eyes when you take your first sip of coffee, or this could be as big as calling a loved one every day on your commute home. But I want you to challenge yourself to change one pattern starting now. Now, on the note of shaping our narrative and forming new patterns, I'd like to end on a poem that hits on a mental pattern that I rewrote. It's easy to silence ourselves by thinking that our story isn't as interesting or as funny or as whatever as the person next to us. But at the end of the day, we all worry that we're inadequate, and each of us is just trying to make the world a little better. So this one is dedicated to each flawed human, and to each of us who are messily trying to improve our own mental patterns. This one is called Imperfect. I admire her painting. It's nearly photographic. Next to her perfection, my poetry looks plastic, a kindergarten project made of marshmallows and matchsticks. And I imagine that her brush chasses its way across the canvas, pulling out a perfect picture flawless, it entrances, paintbrush dances like a prima ballerina. Anna Pavlova the easel, her arena. And I can't fathom how she does it. Just like that, the same way a magician pulls a rabbit from a hat, she draws beauty from the blank. And I don't understand how someone can make something so perfect. See, I'm the kind of girl who stumbles on her every word. It's rough and tumble talk, tripping out of my trap. Only after 50 revisions are my ramshackle raps apt for an audience. So I keep the delete button as my closest friend, delete, delete, closest companion, erasing chunks of thought wider than the Grand Canyon. Then I fill them back in with little frills and fancy until the viewer can't see how imperfect I can be. So I shake my head in wonderment at her impeccable piece, more wrinkle-free and radiant than a shiny silk camise. And I stare at her smooth strokes and meticulous lines, and I find I'm baffled at how her brush can travel and unravel such flawless finesse. If she's the Mona Lisa, I'm a Jackson Pollock mess. But I guess what goes unseen is behind the scenes she gleams with every imperfection, makes countless corrections to nearly invisible sections of the canvas we overlooked. Studies her every error closer than her favorite book. Makes my news modifications illustration shines and sparkles. And while the unknowing audience moons and marvels at her magnificent masterpiece, we may be startled to discover she still sees it incomplete. She could run her finger over every blemish and blotch so you reach a perfect spot she conceals. If you peel back the paint layer by layer, you reveal endless edits and alterations, where she tweaks her illustration, deep in the shadows, dabbles to add those tiny touches and flares through some strange strands of hair. And there, where we now see a faultless figure, there once stood a flawed form. See, being perfect isn't the exception, it's the norm. Life isn't a pristine product, it's a process. We only approach perfection by correction, admitting we are flawed. And I've never seen a beautiful life or a beautiful work of art that didn't evolve effectively from the sloppy start. So make mistakes. Give yourself to the world like a globby birthday cake. Let the love notes of humanity with a coffee stain stab in the middle. Let your life and art be riddled with richness, a gorgeous mess. Sometimes the mistakes are the most stunning part yet. So thank you to each artist. Lay your hardest artwork in the spotlight. Who fought like mad to make a sliver of her soul exposed. And thank you to those sitting in the dark. You are making art of your life, letting struggle and strife stain your existence stunningly, becoming the next masterpiece of elegance and adequacy. Strive for sublimity. Fail fantastically. This is my coffee stain love note to humanity. Thank you so much. All right.